Well, I think, I'm a flying unicorn. No, you fucking ain't. No, you ain't. So 69 gender, non-binary. Nope. 2 genders. Sorry. Like, uber realism. Although probably that shouldn't count as uber realism. That should just be fucking common sense. Yeah, what's Gucci, guys? Today I want to draw differences in concepts in relation to Classic Socionics and also Western Socionics, right? How is a concept defined in both? For example, I talked about how power is actually TI in Classic Socionics, right? And yet it's also SE in WSS. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, I don't take fucking credit for this shit. I didn't sit the down and write this little thing, this document that is floating around that I'm going to be using to kind of get this shit from. That's not me. I know motherfucking genius. I sat down and jerked off to it, and circle jerked it, came up with fucking ingenious shit. Oh, wow, yeah, I'm smart. No, okay? Not to say you can't keep thinking that. Of course you can think I made it, I'm a fucking genius, Jordan Peterson. Keep doing that, but it's a little disclaimer. Now, work in Classic is TE, and in WSS it is TE/SE. Efficiency, obviously a circle jerk idea, right? It's the same thing everywhere. I didn't even need to look at it. I figured out that it would be the same thing. So yes, efficiency is TE in both, in Classic and also in Western. Methods of action, right? What action you should take and what method you should apply or should use. That's also the same thing in both. TE in Classic and also TE in Western. Now, rules, laws, and regulations. And this is where the first starts, okay? Now, in Classic Socionics, rules, laws, and regulations, in this case, will be TE. And in WSS is going to be TI. This is a huge difference, which is why you see many LSCs in Classic who tend to be typed as an LSI in WSS. Because they think this person enforces rules or methods and enforces laws and regulations, that is a combination of TISE. And in Classic, it's not, Enforcing external rules and external regulations, that's TE. So this is why you kind of see people arguing about those kind of different types, right? Oh, yeah, this person is an LSC. No, they're an LSI Wancor. They're kind of using different systems at that point, That's why. Now, physical activity is going to be, again, also controversial a bit. In Classic, that's TE, and in WSS, that is SE. Now, if I was to use my brain, right? The reason why it's your movements, right? You do things a certain way. You're moving, right? That would be considered TE, which is probably why that's correlated to physical activity. The activity of physical movement is probably correlated to TE. Now, I had to kind of rename this because the way it was written fucking pissed me off. The way it was written annoyed me, triggered me, gave me PTSD. My third logic was fucking tweaking, and I didn't know what the fuck to do with it. Start tweaking, Oh shit, what's wrong? My system's glitching. I had to rename it to the action of aggression, rather than physical violence and aggression. I didn't like that word, I didn't. I would say this, you can have all the TE you want in this fucking world. You can be an I lie, all the TE. Oh yeah, look at me, TE creative fucking Chadwick. It don't matter. Generally, you're just not gonna have the aggression in you because you're not gonna have the fucking kinetic energy to even transform it into aggressive action. Without the kinetic energy, you're not gonna be able to transform it. And of course, there are real life examples of this. Okay, so I don't give a fuck about theory here, right? Yeah, but in theory, I don't give a fuck about theory. This is where I draw the line. Once you start telling me about theory here, I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna deny reality. I'm not gonna fucking look at reality and deny it. Okay, I'm not. I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm fucking sorry. I have an ADHD episode today, actually. Okay, so hard for me to focus. I'm all over the fucking place, but anyway, moving on. Now, the use of force is TE in Classic Socionics. In WSS, that's SE. Now, gathering data. In Classic Socionics, there's no such element. But in WSS, in Western Socionics, it's TE. Now, emotions and moods in Classic Socionics would be FE. And also in WSS, it would be FE. It's the same thing. Now, direct influence, right? Influencing someone. In Classic Socionics, that's FE, and in WSS, that's SE. Potential, the same shit. Potential is the same. It's NE in both. Mental skills and abilities, basically geekism of the highest order. okay? And at least this is proof, right? Geekism is now related to an element, guys. Yay, we won. In Classic Socionics, it's going to be NE, and in WSS, there's no such thing. Now, strength and physical capabilities. In Classic Socionics, it is NE. And in WSS, it's SE. It kind of makes sense when it comes to capabilities of someone. They are even physical capabilities, because this is not something that it's not SC. You're not looking at something and you're perceiving it for what it is. You're trying to gather the potential of something, of an object. It's inner strength, inner quality, because that's what it is. Strength would be inner quality, and those inner qualities would be any, or their capabilities. Even if those capabilities are considered physical, that still would be NE. Underlying essence and nature in Classic Socionics, it's NE, and in WSS, it is NI. Cultural and spiritual composition in Classic, that's NE. In WSS, it's nothing. There is no such a thing. Now, being open-minded or close-minded, is there an element for that? There isn't. In Classic, there is no such thing. In WSS, NE, right? Oh, he's super fucking open-minded. NE. Shitting everywhere. He's shitting everywhere, guys. He's leaking NE. No. Sad to say no. Now we get into the sensorics, right? Physical appearance and form. As you can expect, this is probably going to be very similar. In Classic Socionics, it's SE, and in WSS, it's SE/SI. Colors and aesthetics, again in Classic, it is SE, and in WSS, it's also once again SI/SE. Money and finance in Classic is SE, and in WSS, it is TE/SE. Physical resources in Classic is SE, and in WSS, it is nothing. There is no such thing. Will or volition. In Classic, it is SE, and in WSS, it's also SE. Wow, I surprised you there, right? Hey, yay. It's actually, yes, it is actually a big overlapping point between really two of those thoughts, right? Two of those schools of thought. Now, material objects. In Classic, it's SE, and in WSS, there's no such thing. Kinetic strength, right? Kinetic energy, and that's in Classic SE, and in WSS, it's also SE. Scientific thinking in Classic is SE, and in WSS is TE. Well, thank you. I always fucking knew it. I was a rocket scientist, and I knew it since I was born. Okay? I always knew. It kind of to me, it made sense. I was always like a very concrete, factual person. Just care about reality. Well, I think, I'm a flying unicorn. You fucking ain't. No, you ain't. So 69 gender, non-binary. Nope. 2 genders. Sorry. Like, uber realism. Although probably that shouldn't count as uber realism. That should just be common sense. Scientific thinking, right? Because the SE is very factual. Goals in Classic, that's SE, and in WSS, that's like a mixture of SE and I. SE/NI. Position in space in Classic, that's TI, right? Position of things in space, that's TI. And in WSS, there's nothing. Now, official positions, right? Your rank, your shit like that, official positions, that's in Classic TI. And in WSS, that is TI plus SE. Hierarchies, in Classic, that's TI. And in WSS, that is TI plus SC. Then we have need, dependency, and leverage. And in Classic, that's TI. And that is going to be in WSS, SE. Power, that's going to be in Classic TI and in WSS, SE. Now, people ask me, well, power, how power? Power of my ball sack? Power of what? Power of friendship, right? What is this? It's in relation to authority. It's in hierarchy, in the means of hierarchy. For example, someone is your boss, he has power over you. He has power over you because of his position, right? So system bound by laws, that's the same thing. In both Classic and WSS, it's TI. Justice in Classic is TI, and in WSS, it's a mixture. TI plus SE and FI plus SE. Distancing yourself from fights would be Classic TI, but in WSS would be like, I guess, SI and I. Respect in the sense of admiration in Classic, that is TI. And in WSS, that's just ethics. Relationships, the same thing, FI in both. Attraction and repulsion, also FI in both. Hatred and dislike, FI. Love and desire, in Classic, that's FI. But in WSS, that's way juicier. That's FI, FE, / even a C. Okay, being a big daddy dumb ballsack slapper. Conscience, honor, and dignity. In Classic, that's FI. And in WSS, it's going to be FI/TI plus SE. Now, mutual influence, right? In Classic, that's FI. But in WSS, that's SC/FE. Pacing and hurriedness, right? So pacing of some shit, right? That's in Classic, that's NI. But they don't have that there's no such thing in Western. Purpose in terms of meaning or goals, so in Classic that would be NE/SE, and in WSS that's NI. Sensations and well-being in Classic Socionics, that is SI, and there's no such thing in WSS. Health is the same thing in both SI. Hedonism in Classic is SI, and in WSS it is SC/SI. I think for them I think in WSS they recognize that both types can be hedonistic, just maybe in different ways. In some ways it probably makes more fucking sense, if you really think about it. An SC base is hedonistic, can be hedonistic, same way a fucking SI base, SLI can be hedonistic. And lastly is conflict averse and keeping peace. And this is really something you see all the fucking time. All the time. In Classic there is no such thing. There's no element that describes this. Yet in WSS there is. It's called SI. And you see, this is why there's this curse of like, way too aggressive, doesn't give a fuck about peace, can be SI ego. Anyway, guys, so if you have any questions about those kind of definitions and those concepts, ask down below. I will grace you with an answer, okay? And if some of you geeks already know the answer, help others, right? Help them, explain this shit to them, because this can be kind of confusing. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Ciao, bye, I'm bouncing.